Happy Tuesday, guys. This is the day I'm recording all of these on Sunday, but this should be posted on Tuesday if all goes well. So today I want to talk about what are you doing in relation to the California fires. So I think everyone is aware of the absolutely devastating fires that are going on in California right now. This whole event worries me in a lot of ways, environmentally, socially, politically, so many ways. And my heart is broken for the millions of people who are affected. I am further disturbed, though, by the way that the church is behaving in relation to this event, both as a whole entity, but also as the way that I'm seeing individuals behave who are members of the church. I am seeing a lot of people helping, and it's wonderful. There are a lot of locations that are offering for people to come and camp out there for free, like to park their trailers and put up tents for as long as they need. There are restaurants that are offering to feed these people for free. There are animal boarders and shelters that are offering to keep people's pets safe and secure and fed until they're able to find places to go. Firefighters from all over the country are physically getting up and going to the fires to fight. People are doing good things. And I believe that as it becomes safer to be in the vicinity, more people will also step up and help. And there's this whole slew of problems and things that we can talk about from here, though. The church is asking for people to help where they were, okay, because this is a week later when you will see this than when it actually happened. The church was asking for help to take down Christmas lights off the temple grounds, and they made a statement saying that they are deploying their resources, which I'm sure they'll help. They always do. And yeah, it is a significant amount of help typically, and that's great. And any little bit does help. As of a few hours ago, when I was preparing this, which by the time this is posted will be a few days ago. But I found out that as I was preparing this, the church is opening bishop storehouses to those who need food, and also their buildings to those who need shelter. For those who don't know what a bishop storehouse is, a bishop storehouse is basically like like a grocery store, but it's free. So they're opening those up to the people who are displaced because their houses have been downed. And I am shocked, but I am very pleasantly surprised that they are doing this. It is the right thing to do. And I will never be mad about the idea that the church is helping at all. The problem is the portion of the funds that they'll offer overall. And I'll get to that issue in more depth in a minute. And then, the people of the church, they are posting pictures of the LA temple in front of the flames saying, pray for the temple, like that matters at this point, like more than people and where they live, the people that have been displaced, like pray for the temple. There's nothing about praying for the people who live there, just the temple. Even more disturbing, they're posting memes about how the country's most godless city is burning. Imagine that. And then there's one that I've seen that instead of the Hollywood sign, it says Sodom, and it's on fire. There's a lot about God's judgment that I've seen. I also saw a meme with a United States map, and the western half is red and on fire, and the eastern half is blue. And the caption that has the prayer emoji, where they're like this, and it says God is sending a message. And what message? What message is God sending? What is he trying to say exactly? Are we just supposed to guess? Are we supposed to be fix it by trial and error? Maybe we should just sacrifice a witch or something, and I kid, but back to reality, I'm super disappointed to see these messages. And legitimately, they're people that I know who are Mormons. Mormons are posting these. And I'm sure that there's a lot of evangelical people of all kinds of religions who are posting this. The majority of the people that I know are Mormon. So I'm not really seeing a lot of evangelicals of other religions posting these things personally. I'm seeing these in my feed from people I know personally, people who are active, true believing Mormons that are posting these things. So that's really super disappointing. And that's how, and like, it's the same thing. Like, these people, I'm sure, are going to still step up. They're going to donate money. They're going to go and help clean up. They're going to serve. But when they feel this way about the people that they're serving, it's really just self-righteousness. It's not really service. It's putting themselves on a pedestal. And so that's really, really frustrating to me. And that's how it is every time there's any kind of a disaster. People say the same thing about it every hurricane, every fire, every earthquake, every volcano, unless they are in it. And then, of course, it's like they attach some kind of faith promoting thing to it. It'll rain or something, and they'll be like, God did that. God gave us this rain. He saved us because we're righteous. Never mind that, like, did he start that fire in the first place? I don't know. I remember when Hurricane Katrina hit. Now, with the exception of 9/11, this is the first really huge disaster that I have in clear memory. Other things that happened in my lifetime, I was blissfully unaware of because I was just a kid and we didn't have the internet when I was a kid, and we heard about things well after they happened and when everything was okay again already. And because, we only knew what people reported on the news and in the newspaper and on TV, so our knowledge was limited. But with Hurricane Katrina, my brother was actually on his mission in Jamaica, and that was really scary because Jamaica was heavily impacted, and as his family, we were worried about him and his safety. My husband at the time was in the military. We were in New Jersey. But my husband had done his tech school time in Mississippi. And so that kind of hit close to home for him. Also, in the aftermath of Katrina, the storm was over and the levee had broken, and there was like a lot of cleanup to do. A lot of damage had taken place there. I had taken my baby, who was 3 months old at the time. That was my Lily, who is a grown-up now, which is crazy to think of. She's almost 20. I had taken my baby there, and she was 3 months old. I had taken her to Arizona, not to Louisiana, to Arizona, to show her to my grandmother, and so my family could meet her. And, I remember that I was sitting on the floor. I was playing with my baby, and my grandma was sewing. And she was sitting in a chair at like this little desk that she had, and she was sewing. She's always sewing. She's very, very talented seamstress. And she was sewing, and my uncle, he's 3 years older than me. He actually was born on my mom's 21st birthday. And so 19th birthday. He was born on her 19th birthday. And so he's only 3 years older than me. And so we grew up together. We were very, very close growing up. And he was sitting on the couch, and the news was talking about people who were stranded in these floods, that the levee had caused these floods because it had broken, and people who had lost everything, people who weren't able to get out when they were told to evacuate, people without clean water, without food, who were cold. And I remember my utter confusion when my grandma, who had always been the sweetest, most accepting, most loving, safest place for me as a child, who had been an example of inclusivity and forgiveness and second chances and it's okay kind of thing. She had been that example for me. And I remember that I was so confused because she started going off very angrily about how this was a punishment for those in New Orleans because it was a place of sin and they deserved everything that was coming to them. And my brain sort of like malfunctioned. It like shorted out. Like I remembered like this feeling of complete and utter shutdown and numbness, because I didn't know how to think. Here I had been worried about these people. I had stayed up worried for my brother. I had made calls to the people that I knew in the path of destruction. I had been raised to believe that our purpose as a community and a world family was to take care of each other. I was raised believing that each of those people in those places where they were suffering, they were our brothers and sisters. And I remember looking from my grandma to the TV, literally having this meltdown in my head, like picture sparks flying and the sound of cogs screeching and thinking, is is this it? Really that? Is this God's wrath? Do I believe that? And my uncle broke the concentration and he said, Mom, they still need help. And it saved me because I thought, well, they do need help. And I don't know them. I don't know anything about them or who they are. They can't all be bad people. And my grandmother, is still wonderful. People are complex. They can be many things at once. And she's loving and she's wonderful, but it was shocking to see that side of things. And so here I am nearly 20 years later, and I still have issues. The Salt Lake Tribune reports that among those who have lost their homes to the climate change fueled fires, I'm honestly super surprised that any Utah reporting agency at all admits to climate change. But about 1,000 of those people are members of the church, and about 30 members' homes were lost in the fires. As I mentioned, the church is opening the Bishop storehouses. For those of you who don't know, that's like a grocery store, but it's free. Here's the kicker, though. In most cases, in order to go to the Bishop storehouse, you need to have a food order to be allowed in. Most cases, you need to be an active member. You need to be paying tithing. You often are required to do work such as put in hours at the church's farms, to clean church buildings, or work at the church's canneries where they package the dry food and canned goods you would get from the storehouses in order to get food from it. Also, you have to show your financial statements to someone in leadership so they can determine how much food you are worthy of receiving, and how much you should be able to get yourself, and what you should be able to cancel and stop paying on, whether you should sell your car, whether you should turn off your cell phone or your internet. Never mind that doesn't help you with a job. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So the church is opening up to the public. They're also opening church buildings for shelter. They've sent in 15,000 cases of bottled water. And honestly, this is more than I expected they'd do. I expected that they'd throw a few $1 million at it. I thought they'd call for members to volunteer physical labor and financial help. And in fact, they are calling on members to offer that physical and financial help as well. But I thought in no way would they open up their buildings. They never do that. It's kind of unprecedented. Again, I'm never trying to diminish the help that the church does offer. Like, it's typically more money than any single person can give. And wherever that help comes from, it's needed. But now here's the meat of my rant here. Here's the thing, though. The church could do more. People in the church do not like to hear that, but it's the truth. They could do more. And sometimes it's really frustrating to see the church put out a few $1 million, distribute a little food, and then report that the church as an entity gave an inflated amount of hours and food and money because they're also counting what the people did as a congregation. And the truth of it is, when the church pays several $1 million towards humanitarian aid and, proportionate to what they have, it's like they're just paying a few dollars from a coin purse. Now, of course, ex-Mormons, never Mormons, and some more active Mormons will always give commentary. Like, I'm sure this is just super annoying to true believing Mormons as anything. Like, I get that you feel a little uncomfortable when you hear, when you know that the villain is right, kind of a thing. And of course, when I was all in, I thought the same thing. How annoying. They don't understand how much the church gives. They're lying, etc. But then, I didn't know at the time how much the church was sitting on it. Yeah, at that time. So of course, the apologists come in and they say, my favorite thing, well, what are you doing? I have $56.32 in my bank account and I don't get paid until January 20th, Dan. Okay, and I say Dan because I have this little frenemy. Well, he's more of a nemesis than a frenemy even, and I follow Rebecca Biblioteca, and he also follows her. I follow her because she's an ex-Mormon and she is wonderful. She does a podcast. I like her content. She always is sharing updates and things, totally factual updates about the church and everything. But I follow her to interact and comment on her content, but Dan follows her as a heckler. And he follows me around and he tags me even as we're speaking. I saw a little notification come up that he's tagged me in he's tagged me. So can't wait to go see what he has to say about it. I don't respond to him. He follows me around and tags me over and over and over again, trying to engage me, and then makes accusations when I don't engage. And I know that he follows me here too, because he references my videos in his baits. So I could block him, but then there are all these missing pieces to conversations throughout of the threads. So instead, I just act like he doesn't exist. So hi, Dan, here's your shout out. Anyway, people like Dan will come on and say, what are you doing? What are you doing? If you're going to criticize the church for what they're doing, what are you doing? And I just want to express my internal frustration with this question. Like, yeah, it's true. I'm not actually doing much. I've gone and given blood for some disasters. I donate money to some foundations before. I've never gone anywhere to help clean up because I haven't lived in an area that's like a realistic vicinity for me to be an option, for that to be an option for me to go and help clean up. I don't have extensive paid time off from my job to go and spend time cleaning up. I do donate to charities throughout the year. But here's the thing, like, and I'm not saying that to be like, look at me, I'm so wonderful. I'm just saying that like I'm doing what I can. Like, I can't do everything, you know, like I do feel like there is a certain level of responsibility that I have, and I try to fulfill that responsibility. That's all I'm trying to say here. But here's the thing with the whole question about, well, what are you doing? Most people do not have the extensive resources that and time at their fingertips to give. Most people are already living paycheck to paycheck, and most people are one disaster away from homelessness. But the church has basically an endless amount of resources to help in significant ways. And as a whole organization, it continues to be stingy. So yeah, it's that simple, and it's totally valid to ask why the church isn't doing more. It's rude and ableist and classist to ask people what they are doing as a response, especially when the people asking this question know good and well that they also are not doing anything of significant value. So yeah, thoughts and prayers for your temple, yo. Love to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you're thinking about, and you know, what your thoughts are on this. How are you feeling about the fires? If you are impacted, let us know how you're doing. You know, and have you ever been in this situation? Have you ever been asked, what are you doing? What are you doing? What do you think the church should be doing? Thank you so much, and think terrestrial.